What hurts more, her walking away, or you staying silent when she did? You didn't chase, you didn't fight, you didn't collapse. You just let her go. And that silence, it's echoing louder than any words ever could, because deep down, she didn't leave expecting peace. She left expecting proof of her power over you. She expected chaos, tears, a breakdown, maybe even a war. What she got instead? Nothing. No closure, no begging, just the heavy, unshakable weight of your self-control. That's what she never saw coming. And now, that's what's breaking her. Most men lose themselves trying to win a woman back, but not you. You chose the higher ground, the Stoic path. You chose to master yourself when it would have been easier to rage. That's not weakness. That's rare. That's power. Because when you stop arguing, stop explaining, stop performing, you take back control. You stop living for her reaction and start living for your own peace. And trust me, nothing confuses someone more than when they lose the ability to provoke you. This isn't a story of revenge. This is a story of restoration. This is about becoming a man who no longer bleeds for people who watched him suffer, a man who values his inner world more than her validation. Your silence isn't empty, it's full of purpose. It's rebuilding you in places she'll never touch again. And while she's out there wondering what you're thinking, what you're doing, who you're becoming, your only job is to become undeniable. You said nothing. That's why it's hitting her harder. If you're done letting heartbreak define you, if you're ready to become the storm behind the calm, hit that like button. Subscribe, turn on notifications, and comment below. She lost access, not value. Now let's begin. Number 1. She expected a reaction, you gave her silence. She wanted noise, drama, a display of how much she mattered, because that's what people crave when they leave. They want proof. Proof that they still control you even in absence, that they still hold real estate in your mind. She expected you to spiral, to message her 10 times a night, to show up in her inbox desperate for answers. But instead, you did the rarest thing a man can do in this age of instant gratification. You gave her absolutely nothing. No text, no call, no "I miss you," just silence. And that silence, it stripped her of the fantasy. See, when someone thinks they can leave and still own your mind, silence breaks the illusion. It disrupts the ego's comfort, because now she's left guessing. And people hate guessing when they were used to being chased. She's questioning herself, retracing her steps, wondering if maybe she underestimated the man she walked away from. That's the essence of Stoic control, not just emotional restraint, but the ability to hold your ground when everything in you wants to act. Marcus Aurelius said, "The best revenge is not to be like your enemy. Your enemy wants you to react." She wanted that reaction to validate her importance, but your silence did something worse. It exposed her irrelevance, and deep down, it's eating at her. The world teaches men to prove their pain, to show they still care, but the real power is in showing that you don't owe closure to anyone who disrespected your presence. You're not being cold, you're being calibrated, silent, focused, dangerous, not because you're trying to win her back, but because you're winning yourself back. Number 2. Pain is not weakness, it's fuel. You felt it in your chest, that tightness, that sinking, the weight of being left behind like you didn't matter. It's real, and no one's asking you to pretend it didn't happen. But here's the truth. Most men never get told. Pain isn't the enemy. It's the fire. It's the forge. It's what breaks the version of you that tolerated less than you deserved and forces the birth of something sharper, smarter, stronger. She thought the heartbreak would break you, but heartbreak doesn't break men. It refines them. What breaks you is the lie that you need her to be whole. And once you stop believing that lie, you stop bleeding and start building. You stop begging for the past and start building a future so untouchable it makes her absence irrelevant. Seneca wrote, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." That pain you're carrying, It's not just about her leaving, it's about what you told yourself it meant, that you weren't enough, that you lost. Nope, what you really lost was an illusion. What you gained: clarity, a mirror, a fire. Use it. Let the pain push you to silence your excuses. Let it build your discipline, your body, your focus. Turn every sleepless night into a step forward. She might have been the trigger, but she'll never be the reason you stay down. Because you've got something stronger than regret now. You've got purpose, you've got direction, and that pain, it's your fuel. Number 3, attention is her oxygen. Starve it. She doesn't need your love to feel powerful. She needs your attention. That's the game. That's always been the game. Because love can fade. But attention is currency. And every message you send, every view of her story, every indirect post hoping she sees it, that's you paying her in full. That's you keeping her fed. And the truth? She's not suffering from the breakup if she still feels your energy chasing her shadow. Here's the part they never tell you. She doesn't have to reply to be winning. Your effort is the win. Your obsession is the win. But the second you cut the signal, when your focus shifts, when you stop looking, stop checking, stop reacting, you choke her supply line. She starts suffocating in the silence she asked for, because what she really wanted wasn't freedom, it was control. And this is where Stoic detachment hits hardest. You don't hate her. You don't need revenge. You just stopped playing. Epictetus taught that we only suffer when we give value to what lies outside of our control. Attention is a gift. And once she's outside your circle of control, she's also outside your circle of access. It's not petty, it's precise. You're no longer chasing her, you're studying yourself. And she'll feel that distance more than any angry outburst ever could. Because when attention dies, ego dies with it. Let her feel the void, let her feel forgotten. Because the man who starves the game wins it. Number 4, she wanted control. You took it back. At the core of it all, she didn't want love. She wanted control. Control over how you saw yourself. Control over how you moved. Control over your emotions. That's why she pushed your buttons, tested your limits, gave you breadcrumbs and watched you crawl. It wasn't always about affection. Sometimes it was about power. And the second you stopped reacting, the power shifted. See, when you pull back, not out of bitterness, but out of clarity, something shifts in the dynamic. You're no longer playing the part she cast you in. You're rewriting the script. And she hates it. Because control only works if you participate in the performance. If you don't play the role of the broken man, the needy ex, the emotionally wounded wreck, she loses the spotlight. This is what Stoicism teaches at its root. True strength is self-governance. You cannot be manipulated by someone you no longer give emotional power to. Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." And you did. You realized it. And now she feels it. You're not silent to punish her. You're silent because you've outgrown the conversation. She wanted a reaction, but now she's getting a reminder that you are not her project, her puppet, or her possession. You are your own man, and every moment you stay silent is you taking back another inch of ground. You're not just ignoring her, you're reclaiming yourself. Number 5. Your silence is now her mirror. Silence does something dangerous. It reflects, not for you, for her. Because when you said nothing, when you stopped explaining, stopped defending, stopped reaching, she was left alone with herself. No noise, no distractions, just her thoughts. And now that silence is working like a mirror, forcing her to face what she tried to ignore. See, when you react, you shield her from the weight of her own decisions. When you beg, cry, or rage, you become the story. Look what he did when I left. But when you go quiet, the story flips. Now it's, why didn't he fight for me? Was I wrong? Did I lose someone real? She doesn't have your words to argue with anymore. She only has her own mind, and that's a dangerous place for someone who acts on impulse and ego. Your silence has become the loudest thing in the room, and she can't escape it. Every place she goes, every scroll through her feed, every second of stillness is filled with questions you never answered. Because now the silence is hers to deal with, not yours. That's the dark psychology of restraint. It leaves the other person haunted by possibilities, by doubt, by the ache of not knowing. And that's the Stoic advantage. You didn't need to win the argument. You didn't need to defend your worth. You just left space. And in that space, she's unraveling. Because silence is more than a lack of sound. It's a reminder of absence. It's a spotlight on what's missing. And what's missing now is you. Number 6. You don't chase, you build. The world trained you to chase, to go after what leaves, to fix what breaks, to prove your worth through pursuit. But chasing is for men who don't know their value yet. The moment you stopped running after her, you did something bigger. You turned inward. You didn't just stop chasing her. You started building you. Let her think you moved on too quickly. Let her wonder why you're not checking in, why you're not heartbroken and visible. Because while she's looking back for signs of weakness, you're somewhere she can't reach, grinding, building, leveling up. Not to spite her, not to win her back, but because you finally understood, healing isn't a performance, it's a process, and you're locked in. This is the Stoic path. Detachment not just from others, but from the outcome. You're no longer looking for validation. You're becoming someone who doesn't need it. While she's replaying the past, you're writing your future. Better habits, better health, sharper discipline, more focus. That's the real glow-up. Not a thirst trap or a rebound, but becoming a man who doesn't flinch when he's left behind. She's going to feel it eventually. She'll notice the shift in your energy, even in your absence. Because energy never lies. You used to orbit her world. Now she's no longer even a factor in yours. And that switch, that internal upgrade, that's not just progress, that's power. And the most powerful part? You're doing it in silence. Number 7, you were the blessing. She just realized too late. She didn't lose a guy, she lost a foundation, a presence, a calm in the middle of her chaos. But when someone's used to noise, they don't recognize peace until it's gone, and by the time they figure it out, it's too late. That's the thing about blessings. You don't always notice them while you're holding them, especially when you're convinced the grass is greener, especially when ego blinds you to value. You were steady, patient, honest, flawed maybe, but real, and she mistook that steadiness for softness. She thought you'd always be there, thought she could disrespect your time, your effort, your energy, and you'd keep showing up like clockwork. But that version of you, he doesn't exist anymore. She pushed the line too far, too many times, and now she's remembering the man who never asked her to be perfect, just present. Now the silence is more than quiet, it's a void, because she's starting to feel what it's like to be without something solid. Her new distractions won't have your depth. Her new options won't have your loyalty. They'll have moments. You had meaning. This is the Stoic truth. You don't scream your worth. You stand in it. You don't force people to see your value. You walk away when they don't. And when you do that, something powerful happens. They finally see what they lost. Not because you told them, but because no one else feels like you. No one else is you. And now, she knows. Number 8, she's watching, even if you don't see her. Don't be fooled by silence on her end. Don't be tricked by the lack of messages or the cold front she's putting up. She's watching, maybe not openly, maybe not with likes or comments, but she's there, lurking in your stories, checking your posts, scanning your updates, because that's what happens when a man stops chasing. He becomes a mystery, and mystery demands attention. You're not chasing her anymore, so now she has to seek you out to feel something, to check if you've moved on, to see if you're hurting, to measure whether or not she still has space in your world. That's how the game flips. The second you go quiet, the second you stop feeding her ego, she gets hungry for breadcrumbs. You used to be predictable, now she doesn't know who you are anymore. And that unknown version of you? That's exactly what pulls her in. This is dark psychology at work. People crave relevance. When you ignore someone's absence, they feel invisible, and invisibility is torture to the ego. She didn't think you'd disappear quietly. She thought you'd orbit, thought you'd keep proving your devotion. But you didn't. You vanished with grace, and now, even though she acts unbothered, she's studying you, watching your moves, listening for signs of weakness, hoping for proof that you still care, but she's not getting it. That's the Stoic edge. You don't need to block her. You don't need to post some forced display of "I'm over it." You just keep building in silence, living with purpose. Let her watch, let her wonder, because attention is now her problem, not your gift. Number 9, emotionally unavailable. Number emotionally disciplined. They'll call you cold, detached, emotionally unavailable. Let them. That's just what people say when they lose access to your vulnerability. When they can't manipulate your reactions, they label your calm as a problem. But let's get one thing clear. You're not shut off. You're just selective now. You don't give your energy to chaos. You don't give your heart to someone who hasn't earned your silence, let alone your trust. This isn't emotional unavailability. This is emotional discipline. This is the part of the story where you stop outsourcing your peace. You stop needing someone else to validate your worth. And the moment you do that, you become untouchable, not because you're immune to feeling, but because you've trained yourself not to bleed for people who treat your emotions like toys. A Stoic doesn't numb himself. He feels everything. He just doesn't act on every impulse. That's the difference. Your heart still beats. Your mind still remembers. But your behavior? That belongs to you now. It's under control. That's why she's confused. Because she expected a man who crumbled. She met a man who evolved. She thought ignoring you would break you. All it did was sharpen you. Now, she doesn't know how to reach you, because her usual tools don't work anymore. Guilt, silence, bait, they bounce off. You've built a boundary between your emotions and her influence, and that right there is the power she never saw coming. Number 10. The comeback is in the calm. This isn't about revenge. This isn't about proving anything to her. This is about you standing in your peace so fully that her absence doesn't echo anymore. The world tells you to bounce back loud, post more, party more, show the glow up. But that's not power. That's noise. Real power? It's quiet. It's the type of calm that can't be shaken. The kind of presence that doesn't need to shout to be felt. You're not who you were when she left. That man was reactive. He needed answers, closure, validation. But this version, he doesn't flinch. He doesn't chase. He just moves forward, silently, purposefully. And that calm presence, that unbothered stillness, that's the comeback. Because nothing shakes a person more than realizing they're no longer your storm. They're just a memory. She expected a rebound. What she's seeing is a rebirth. That's the Stoic path. Don't seek to hurt, seek to heal. Heal so deeply that her choices no longer control your mood. Heal so completely that even if she came back, you wouldn't need to respond. Because the goal was never to get her attention again. It was to become a man who no longer needs it. That's what hits hardest. Not the silence itself, but what the silence became. It became peace. It became power. It became a life that no longer includes the pain she caused. You don't need to be louder. You just need to be more still. Because when a man finds calm after the storm, he doesn't need to make noise. He is the signal. And now, she knows it. You didn't lose her. You lost the illusion that you needed her to be whole. And that silence she thought was weakness. It became your weapon, your shield, your foundation. Because when you stopped speaking, you started healing. When you stopped reacting, you started evolving. You didn't just walk away, you rose. And now, while she sits with questions, you sit with peace. This is what happens when a man chooses the Stoic path. No screaming, no chasing, just steady movement, controlled energy, quiet power. That's what makes her regret it. Not the absence of your love, but the absence of her influence. She doesn't miss the noise, she misses the presence. And by the time she realizes what she let go, it's already too late. So here you are now. Not broken, not bitter, just focused, calm, dangerous in your discipline. You said nothing, and that silence, it said everything. Thank you for watching Stoic Blessing. If this message found you at the right time and you're ready to step into full control of your mind, your mission, and your energy, hit that like button, subscribe, turn on notifications, and comment below. My peace is not up for negotiation.